Hello, everyone. My name is Lauren Spatanka, and I am one of the newer coaches here at Summit Health. And this is my first Sundays at Summit Health, which is really exciting. So I hope that this is helpful for you all. You might be wondering why I have this awesome Pooh Bear outfit on, and that's because I'm bad at fantasy football, and that is just kind of a consequence of that. But also because today we're going to be talking about poo and 6 reasons why you should care about the health of your bowel movements and some things maybe to be looking for and what they might indicate, and then, maybe next steps if you feel like that might be necessary. Um, so, the main reason that we want to be looking at the health of our bowel movements is because it gives us a lot of insight into our overall health, whether things are going really well or not so much. To start off, though, what are we even looking at? So, some things to take note of. One, how often are you going? Ideally, we want to go 1 to 3 times per day. If you're not going at all or going, significantly more than that, that might be something to pay attention to. How does it feel? And that does not mean reaching your hand in the toilet and feeling how it feels. That means, is it quick and painless? Or are you having to, strain or run to the bathroom a lot, sitting for long periods of time to be able to finish your bowel movement? What color is it? Healthy poo is brown, and that comes from the bile that your body uses to digest your food. Although sometimes we can see a couple changes, like if you've had a lot of leafy greens the day before, you might see some green, or if you were eating beets, it might be red, things like that. How does it smell? If you think your poop doesn't stink, your friends probably don't like you very much. But if for some reason it's extremely foul, that might be evidence that there's some sort of underlying issue going on. And then lastly, does it sink or float? So healthy poos can actually do both. It's not necessarily an indication that anything is wrong if it's sinking or floating. Really, all it does is give us some insight to the fat versus fiber ratio in your diet, and that's something that you can talk more about with your Summit Health coach. Um, Things will look different day to day also. So if you had a burrito from Plaza the night before, don't be shocked or alarmed by what's in the toilet. Look for trends and for what's more normal for you versus circumstantial. So, 6 things that your poo might be trying to tell you. Number one, your gut maybe could be working better than it is. Our gut is meant to help us soak up all the nutrients from our food and then get rid of the rest. Because of how your gut brain works, we often won't actually feel pain when things are going wrong in our gut. What this can mean is there might be some sort of nutrient deficiency, or a problem with your immune system, or even something more serious like a problem with your nervous system, among many other things. So, the way that you maybe would notice that is if, in addition to your poop being a little bit off schedule or not necessarily being the most healthy based on what we just talked about, you also might have something like brain fog or mood changes, trouble controlling your weight, some sort of skin irritation, or even new or worse allergies. Those can be indications, honestly, that something's wrong with your gut. How to fix it? The biggest thing here is always going to be eating more whole, minimally processed foods. Another way to work on it is just practicing eating slowly so that you notice more things. And, lastly, bring it up with your coach. See if it's something that they have a solution to, or if they think you should be talking to your doctor. Second, your microbiotic balance is messed up. And what that fancy word means is your gut has all kinds of bacteria, and if they're not doing your job, that will show up in your poo. What this means is not only does it make digestion really hard when those bacteria aren't doing their job, um, it's those bacteria help with protecting us from disease, helping us fight infections, making vitamins that our bodies need. So if our microbiome is not how it needs to be, there can be a lot of side effects to that. How to fix it? Two things that we need to incorporate in our diet. One is a prebiotic, and the role of a prebiotic is to keep the bacteria that you already have healthy and alive. Foods that help with that are things like beans and legumes, fruits, whole grains, and starchy vegetables, like my favorite food, the potato. And then the other side would be adding new bacteria, which we get through probiotics. And these obviously can be taken as a supplement, but some foods that might have them already are things like yogurt or fermented products such as sauerkraut or pickles. Number three, the third indication could be that your diet isn't working for you. Obviously, our poo is a reflection of what we eat. And so, what this means is if your poos are really hard and tough to pass, you're probably lacking fiber. You might also have some sort of food sensitivity, even to a healthy food. Like sometimes people hear, well, I thought broccoli was a superfood, but whenever I eat it, I have all these problems with my digestion. Then maybe broccoli is not the food for you if it's giving you those kinds of problems. Common ones can also be things like gluten, lactose, or even sugar. And a lot of these things are going to show up in more processed foods. There are all kinds of additives like added sugar, refined grains, things like that that our bodies might be sensitive to, and all of those show up in more processed food. So again, like I said before, the solution here would be more whole foods. One way to fix this, if it is your diet, track your food, as most of you do. And then on top of that, pay attention to and maybe journal how you feel and how your bowel movements are going. And as you do that, you might start noticing some patterns. What foods make you feel better? What foods make you feel worse? And then start making some adjustments and see how that affects how you feel. If you're eating foods that don't agree with you or you're missing key nutrients, your poo will reflect that. From there, cut back on the processed food, increase the whole foods, and kind of repeat that process over and over again. The fourth indication could be that you're dehydrated. So if your poos are small and hard, yes, I mentioned fiber, that may be the answer, but if you're getting a lot of fiber already, it could be as simple as water. Your body needs water to execute almost all of its functions. And if you're not drinking enough water, it'll start taking water from other places in your body so that it can still function. And a lot of ways that this shows up are just things like feeling thirsty. My mouth is dry. I'm dehydrated. And the extreme, maybe, side of that is muscle cramping. One way to fix this, obviously, drink more water. That's pretty clear. But if you really want to optimize it, be drinking more water during and after your workouts when your body's needing that water to execute all the functions of recovery. Or you can look at your overall beverage intake for the day. Like maybe that second cup of coffee could be a water, or maybe your afternoon Diet Coke could be a water instead. Just some ways to consider it if just drinking more water is not the easiest thing for you. The fifth thing that your poo might be indicating to you is that you're too stressed. Your head and your brain, your head brain and your gut brain talk to each other. So if you've ever lost your appetite when you're feeling anxious, that's because those two things are talking to each other. When you're feeling stressed in your brain that's in your head, your enzyme production and blood flow to the gut are limited, and that's why it's harder to eat, it's harder to digest when you're feeling stressed. The other side of that too is that you notice yourself having to run to the bathroom much more frequently, even though you maybe didn't eat anything out of the ordinary. Sometimes our bodies it's like a little kid pooping in a pool, and everyone's like, all right, everyone out of the pool. Your body can take that approach too and say, we got to get everything out because it's panicking and doesn't know what to do. Um, if you're constipated or always rushing to the toilet, your stress level, and we're okay with stress. Stress is not a bad thing. We're not afraid of it. But if that's something that you're noticing, it might be going past the good stress territory into into a more unhealthy place. So that is a way that you might need to notice that. Symptoms that go alongside it, just a couple: anxiety, trouble focusing, headaches, sleep problems, even like menstrual cycle issues. Those can all be indications alongside your poo that maybe the stress is going a little bit further than it should. How to fix it? Take your stress seriously. We can't all just get rid of the stressful situations in our lives. I understand that. But we can maybe add a few things to help us deal with it a little bit better. Some of the things that I appreciate are getting outside, maybe for a walk, but even if you can't go for a walk, just get outside. Taking a hot bath or watching something funny and just getting my mind off of it completely. Lastly, your workout routine may not be working for you. And a lot of times we don't necessarily link our digestion to our workouts, but they actually affect each other quite a bit. So, doing too much or too little can actually affect your poops, which I was honestly shocked to learn. Working out keeps your outside in shape for sure, but it also keeps your inside in shape. And on the other side of that, overdoing it can put so much stress on the body that it can lead to everything we just talked about with stress, right? Sleep problems, fatigue, anxiety, things like that. What this means is a sedentary lifestyle can lead to a lot of problems, but constipation is a big one. On the other hand, overexercising without enough recovery can damage your gut as well. This is because during exercise, your blood flow to your gut actually decreases quite a bit, which causes a little bit of leaky gut, and that's why we get the nervous poos, or if you've ever been to a cross country meet or a 5K or something, the porta potty line is just ridiculously long. Um, how to fix it? If you tend to be more on the sedentary side, find a fun way to get some movement in. It doesn't mean you have to go to the gym. It doesn't have to be a treadmill. Walk your dog. Have a dance party with your kids, or pick a room and deep clean it. Clean out your attic, something like that. Um, and if you think you might be overtraining, keep a journal of what you're doing and how you feel. Other indications of overtraining, such as muscle fatigue, or fatigue and muscle aches, I guess. And then how do you feel during and between workouts? And what does your active recovery look like? And maybe try and find a little bit more balance instead of just beating yourself all the time. So, the bottom line, start turning around and looking down to see what's going on in the toilet, and just take a few steps to care for the bacteria in your gut. Slow down your eating a little bit, stay hydrated, manage your stress, and know when maybe it's time to chat with your coach or even your doctor about some concerns. Thank you all so much for joining me today. Um, I apologize for talking about poop on the first date, but it was by special request, and I won't say who that's from because I don't want to embarrass my mom. So, anyway, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and if you're a deer hunter, I hope you've had some luck this weekend. See you later.